I don't know if that was phrased perfectly, but bottom line is I'm not a head coach of a football program. Trent Bray is not a head coach of a football program. Might never be again. And you know what? Some guys are coordinators, and that's okay. Trent Bray's let go from Corvallis after an 0-7 start. This was necessary, and I'm sure painful for some because he's an Oregon State guy. He was instrumental to the rebuild of the program towards the end of the Pac-12, RIP. He played for Oregon State. He wanted to make it work. He got off to a 4-1 start. Since then, one win. One victory after a 4-1 start. Oregon State was 0-7. There is no question in my mind this decision had to be made. And I've seen the defenses of Trent Bray sound something like this. He's in a tough situation. Who are you going to go get? What are you going to do? It's too hard of a spot to be in. Their NIL's a mess. All those things can be true. It shouldn't look this bad. Trent Bray didn't need to be over 500 right now for me to believe he was the guy to lead them into the Pac-12 conference next year. He did not need to do that with their schedule. There were 2 games he was never going to win, Texas Tech and Oregon. That was never going to happen. So you had 2 losses baked into the cake. Tell me why in year two, why should he be that far behind Wake Forest in year 1? Is that a premier program in the ACC with a backup quarterback? I don't think so. I don't think Wake Forest is terrible. I'm just saying they came onto your field and scored 22 points to begin the game. This was a complete and utter disaster. And it wasn't the worst one that they had this year. You can't get the special teams right, and then the coach gets to stick around for a couple weeks. Why? Why exactly? You went out and committed, and by the way, full props for doing that, because you should go out and take what money you do have and try to get big-time players like Maalik Murphy. They did, and that's a good thing. But that it was this bad, that they still don't have a win, you can't stick around with that. Where was the path forward? What was the upside? The upside of keeping Trent Bray was projecting to the college football world that, we're going to go the cheap route. We're okay being not where we should be. If Oregon State had gone 5-7 this year, disappointing, not a disaster. 0-7? You can't stick around with that. There's nothing to feel good about. Game 1, Oregon State was favored against Cal. Favored. That's what Vegas thought of the Beavers roster. Heck, I pick Oregon State to win that game because they were at home. You had a true freshman quarterback who admittedly is very good coming to a hostile environment in game 1. Took your lunch money. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that guy's better than we thought. All right. Fair. Cal's got more resources than you. Not a lot, but more. They've got more being in the ACC for a reduced share. Anyway, Fresno State comes to town, beats you. Looks ugly. Coach swears going into the half. There are just a lot of things that made me realize pretty quickly this year that, if this is what it looks like in year 2, if this were year 1, I wouldn't have called for Trent Bray's job a single solitary time. Because, there were a lot of challenges. And no, Oregon State doesn't have an incredible NIL situation. And I'm not diving into that whole mess and all that, but it doesn't need to look that bad. It doesn't. Fresno State's in their first year with their head coach, Matt Entz. That's a name I would call, by the way. See if he would come up to Corvallis from Fresno. Because, boy, Matt Entz is a guy that won at North Dakota State. Went and stopped at USC for a year. He's winning at Fresno State right here, right now. They didn't play well over the weekend, but they're outperforming a lot of people's expectations. And you might not have the most incredible list of candidates. But it's not just that they're 0-7, though it's part of it. It's not just that he's only won one game after a 4-1 start. That's part of it. It's how it's all looked. It looks discombobulated, disorganized. You got inconsistent play. You have a quarterback who's really talented and an offensive system that feels like they're just relying on him to make a bunch of plays. And while he's good, Maalik Murphy, he can be good. We saw that briefly at Texas. We saw that at Duke last year. It cannot be as difficult to get him to play consistently as it has been. There are just too many things. What do you have to feel good about right now? What's trending up? What's optimistic for next year? Maalik Murphy is regressing. The offense is not there. The defense has given up too many points to a backup quarterback from Wake Forest with a first-year staff on your home field. You can't do any of that sort of stuff. So I understand the defense of Trent Bray. I just think, man, even if you weren't the 7-8 win team that people more optimistic about the program like me this year were saying before the season, even if you don't do that, it can't look like this. It can't feel like this. You got a fan base that's already frustrated and dejected. Why? Because the college football world, to them, and justifiably so, is stupid and has left them behind, and the whole thing is a complete mess. You're already struggling. You're fighting that battle. It can't look like this. You can't put on that many bad performances at home and expect to still be the head coach. Now, the question then becomes, who do you go hire? Take your time. Take your time. You're going into the New World Pac-12. If Scott Barnes, the AD, continues to be the athletic director, plenty of people don't want him there, which I fully understand. But if he continues to be an athletic director, he's about to make the most important hire that will probably define whether he's the athletic director 5 years from now. Because if you get this head coach hire wrong going into the new conference and you're behind Fresno State and San Diego State, which they are as a football team, by the way, you're not as good as Fresno State. You are not as good as San Diego State right now. Obviously, Boise State is in front of you. You have so many things that are working against you right now. Where do you go? Do you go young and try to inject some life into the program and energy? I don't think that'd be a bad idea. I don't. I know you're going to say the name. Someone is going to say the name Jerry Neuheisel. Please calm down. Please calm down. Please relax. Return to the realm of reality. Jerry Neuheisel's awesome. He's such an easy guy to root for. Maybe one day he'll be a head coach. He's been a coordinator for 2 games. You're not hiring him to be your head coach. UCLA is probably going to hire him to be their offensive coordinator. They should. But no, that is not a name that I am remotely entertaining as a serious candidate for the Oregon State job. Now, for fans of other Power 4 programs out there, or I should say Power 4 programs, because unfortunately Oregon State not in Power 4 league anymore, even though they should be, watch out for your coordinators. Oregon State's going to try. I think there are going to be two options here. As I think out loud with this, I'd almost go for a high floor, low ceiling head coach. A guy who you know is going to come in and win, but in 4 or 5 years, you might decide, all right, this isn't the right time. You need a stabilizer. You need a guy who can win 7 games next year somehow, and then maybe he regresses and only wins 4 or 5, and then he wins 7, and then he wins 8, and then he regresses to 5 or 6, and you say, all right, we need a new coach. That's what Oregon State needs. You can't keep putting up these abysmal records and trying to it was hard enough to claw your way up when you were in the Pac-12. But now in the New World Pac, in the old Pac-12, I should say, that was hard enough and took some time. But in the New World Pac-12, the brand of Oregon State, their top quarterback commit and one other recruit flipped to other schools. Deegan Rose flipped to Fresno State. Nothing's going right now. You need someone that can build. You need someone that has proven, hey, I went to this stop, I went to that stop. You need to find your Kalen DeBoer, your Kurt Signetti, not to that extent, of course. That's, I don't think there's a candidate out there for Oregon State to come in and make them, a college football playoff caliber program, which is, in the long run, is what they aspire to be, and they should, because I think they can get there one day in the New World Pac-12. There's 100% on the table. You got to hire the right guy. But you need someone who can come in. Like if Chris Peterson were to come out of retirement, gosh, that would be fantastic. Or if you could get Matt Entz from Fresno State, I think that would be a really, really good move. Somebody like that gives you a certain floor. You got to get fans to buy back in. You got to get the brand back. You got to sort out the NIL so you can build a roster. There's a lot of work to be done here. Whoever takes this job has to be willing to go nose to the grindstone and just get to work. Get to work, because there's a lot to be done. This is a complete and utter teardown. I doubt that there will be a lot of players from this team on the roster next year. That might be a good thing. So let me know. Let me know, Beaver fans. Who would you like to be Oregon State's next head coach? Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.